Assalamualaikum, my name is Hasna. I am the first presenter. So today I will tell you about summary case law about Jones V Padavatton 1969. 1969, a mother who Mr. John asked her daughter to give up a job as security in Washington and asked her daughter to pursue study for the bar in England. Mr. Jones promised that she will give $200 for her maintenance fees, but she believed that $200 was US dollar. Meanwhile, her mother made it was a $300, which was half of the value. So, Miss Padavatton only could afford to rent a room for her and her son to live. Mr. John was so pity to her daughter and bought her a new house. Then bought a big house to her daughter so she could lend other rooms to tenants. And the rental fee will cover the allowance that they have been agreed, and the remaining supposedly to transfer to Miss Jones. After several months, Mr. Padavatton got married without telling her mother and not paying any rent to Mr. Jones. So Miss Jones was getting so mad and fly to England to meet her daughter. At the first place, Mr. John wanted to discuss to her daughter about this issue, but then Mr. Jones could not cover the injury, and then Mr. Padavatton bring this case to the court. Mr. Padavatton meet the lawyer to prove her innocence.
Parties involved in the cases is a mother, Mrs. Lalji John, and her daughter, Mrs. Ruby Padavatton. Then the plaintiff in these cases was the defendant's mother. The plaintiff has made a deal with the defendant, which is her daughter. The deal has stated that the defendant would to break from her work at an embassy in US and moving to England to prepare for the bar. In the same time, the plaintiff will provide her an allowance about $200 a month, also provide a house for the defendant to live in with her son, and rent parts of room in the house as expenses for her daughter while studying. But the plaintiff is unsatisfied with her daughter because not informing her how much money was earned by renting the rooms in the house. Then the plaintiff went to England and started proceeding to retake possession of the house. Then the defendant got argued with the plaintiff because she had followed all the requests to study for the bar and should be allowed to remain in the house. But the Court of Appeal disagreed as to whether the plaintiff and her daughter were legally bound by the promise that they were held because the plaintiff doesn't intend to create a contract. Then from this situation has clarified that there is no formal agreement that can be prosecuted between any parties. Then the Court of Appeal claimed that the mother is able to take ownership of the house and the daughter has been unable to fight for her right of the house.
Assalamualaikum and hi, I'm Insyirah Luqman. I would like to present about right duty related parties about Jones V Padavatton 1969. Mrs. Padavatton argued the agreement between herself and her mother amounted to a legally binding contract, and as such, she should be entitled to remain in occupation of the house. She claimed there had been an intention to create legal relation and she had provided consideration for mother's maintenance by studying for the bar. The mother argued there was merely an informal family arrangement. There had been no intention to create legal relation and she was therefore entitled to recover possession of the house. Even if there was enforceable contract, the terms of the agreement were too vague for the court to enforce. Mrs. John was unsatisfied with the decision. She decided to appeal. Her mother appealed successful and she was awarded possession. There is presumption that family arrangements are based on mutual trust, family ties, and affection, and there is no intention to create legally binding contract capable of enforcement in the court. This presumption can be rebutted, but the lack of formality regarding the agreement between mothers and daughters strongly indicated there was no such intention and the daughter had no defense to her mother's claim for the house.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Nordin, and today I'll be talking about the issues and problems raised in this case. So there was a daughter argued with her mom about their contract was legally binding, and with that the daughter claimed herself that she is entitled to occupy in the house for a long time period. There was an intention to create legal relation, and she also had tried to consider her mom's favor by studying for the bar. Other than that, as for the mom, her claim was different. There was merely any informal family arrangement between them, and there was no intention to make it legal relation like how the daughter claimed it to be. Thus, she is entitled to recover the possession of the house after an appeal was made by the mother for the higher court. Even there was an enforceable contract, she mentioned that the terms of arrangement was too vague for the court to enforce. Thank you.
Assalamualaikum, my name is Alia Binti Ariff. I'm going to talk about a solution of the cases. Okay, her mother appeal was successful. She was awarded possession. There is a presumption that family arrangements are based on a mutual trust, family ties and affection. And also there is no intention to create legally binding contract capable of enforcement in the court. This presumption can be rebutted, but the lack of formality regarding the agreement between mother and her daughter strongly indicate there was no such intention, and the daughter had no defense to her mother's claim for the house. Also, the Court of Appeal stated that the agreement would last until the daughter had passed her bar final, but it already 5 years and she still not passed them. Therefore, the contract had elapsed. Next, we will move to element of the cases. Okay, element that used in this case was an intention to create legal relation under the law of contract. There are two types of relationship, which is a business or commercial agreement and domestic, social or family agreement. In this case, they use a domestic, social or family agreement because this type of agreement consists of agreement that made between her mother and her daughter. Okay, the daughter claimed that there had been an intention to create legal relation, and she had provided consideration for her mother maintenance by studying for the bar. The mother argued that there was a merely an informal family arrangement. There had no been intention to create legal relation, and she was therefore entitled to recover possession to the house. That's all.